I've just been wondering, what the hell am I supposed to be doing? I've been journeying with God, wondering, should I stay? Should I go? What changes do I need to make in my life? Is this a sign that I should be moving on to something else? And to be honest with you, lately I've felt a lot of confusion, doubt, comparison, and even some sadness. Do you ever feel that way? Wondering what you're doing, feeling like you're stuck in a rut, you're trapped, you're comparing yourself to other people around your age? Well, if that sounds familiar, stick around, let's talk about it. Welcome back to Get Outside Today. My name's Dominic. This is episode 4, The Comparison Trap, Finding Your Own Path. It's been a while, and yes, I'm a little bit embarrassed. The last time we talked, I was bragging about my discipline, posting every other week. Well, here I am, probably over 2 months later. I'm not perfect, and yes, I own that. As you can see, I am not outside. I am in my house filming. The drone shots in this episode are from Monterey, California. When I went back home to visit family for Christmas, we flew the drone during sunset. It was epic, and I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. Since I haven't posted in a while, I feel like something that was holding me back was getting outside, filming. It just felt like a lot of work. So in order to post more often, especially during the winter, I think I'm gonna move some filming inside, maybe just do audio. So bear with me as I am journeying, figuring this out. But I want to create more content, so whatever that takes, I'm willing to do, even if it's not the dream project vision that I had in mind of being outside in the mountains for every episode. Here we are in my living room. I wanna say thank you for reaching out and checking up on me the last couple months and asking about the podcast, wondering when I was gonna post my next episode. Like everyone else, I need people to help keep me accountable, so I'm truly blessed to have you guys in my life. This episode will be a little bit more personal for me. I'm gonna share some personal stories. It'll be broken down into 3 segments: living in Panama, taking risks, and present day comparison. These experiences have made me who I am today, and I'm super excited to be sharing these personal stories with you during this episode. So here's the thing, comparison. It comes and goes, and it's something that can really impact our lives. Even though I've worked really hard on it over the years, there are still seasons of my life where it comes creeping back in and I start to struggle with it again. Thankfully, at a young age, my mom made a decision that forever changed my life. When I was 8 years old, my mom decided to take me and my sister, who was 6 at the time, to live in Panama for 3 months and volunteer at a missions base. And this missions base was not luxury. Think rats running through the ceiling back and forth, rat poop on the bed every night. We spent a lot of time in remote villages that were only accessible by canoe. And let me tell you, these people had nothing. Their houses were built from whatever they could find. They had to carry buckets and walk to the river to get water. They cleaned their clothes in the river. And as an 8-year-old, this became real. This was right in front of me. But here's the thing that changed my life forever. They were the happiest people I had ever met. They had so little, basically nothing, and they smiled more than anyone I had ever met back home in the States. It was eye-opening. At the time, back in the States, in school, I was caught up in the who likes who drama, who's the best athlete at recess. But this experience put life into perspective. I'll never forget, my mom put my sister and I into a local school, all Spanish, obviously, and the teacher would write notes in Spanish and cursive. I hadn't learned cursive yet in English, yet alone in another language. As I was frantically trying to copy the notes on the chalkboard, there wouldn't be enough room, so the teacher would go back and erase all the old notes, and those were the notes that I'd be taking. So to say that I felt out of place is an understatement. To make matters worse, I needed a haircut. So my mom took me to a local barbershop, and here in the States, you say what number of clipper you want. Great, trim on the top. So they take the clipper, they do the sides and the back, trim the top. So I sat down, asked for the 2-guard. She clips it on, and the first thing she does is take it straight down the middle of my head. A 2-guard. I was mortified. I was 8 years old. I had a buzzed head. I was behind on notes, and I was trying to make friends with people who didn't speak my language. We were off to a rough start. I remember writing letters to my dad back home, just begging for him to come get me. But I'll never forget, on the last day of school, when it was time for us to leave, my sister and I hopped in the car with my mom, and we're pulling out, looking at the cement school, and we looked to the fence, and all of the kids came running to the fence, and they were all waving us goodbye. It was so humbling. In those few months, they had become family. Even in a place where we did not fit in, we were accepted. I tell you this story because I want to remind you and myself that we are incredibly blessed. Every day that we wake up, we are living a life that so many people around the world are praying for. That trip to Panama stays with me to this day. I see those memories so vividly. It shapes how I look at life every single day. The things we take for granted, like a warm bed, a quiet ceiling, the haircut that we love, running water, there's people that are praying for that right now. It's this lens of gratitude that helps keep my comparison in check. Sure, I still deal with it. Whether I'm doom scrolling through social media, wondering, wow, are they living that life and they're younger than me? They're the same age as me. How did they get that? How are they doing that? Why are they making that much money and I'm not? But I try to remind myself that my journey's my own, their journey's their own, and yours is also your own. Your story is still being written. Moving to Panama during that time was a risk. My mom took a huge risk taking her 6-year-old daughter and her 8-year-old son to move to Panama in the mountains to these remote villages. But it's the risks that we remember. We don't reminisce and look back about the times that we were comfortable, going with the flow, doing what people told us to do. No, the beauty is in the discomfort. And that leads me to segment 2, taking risks. Looking back at my life, I have learned so much from the risks that I've taken when I was younger. I was never afraid to try new things if it wasn't cool or if it wasn't normal. For example, I played golf growing up, and that definitely did not scream cool, tough kid. And I was also in band. Oh, and I was also in show choir. Yep, singing and dancing in shiny, sparkly outfits. I had never sung or danced before, but my friends convinced me to try out. I remember walking into the audition room. I had chosen Mirrors by Justin Timberlake for my audition song. So I had been practicing the instrumental at home, trying to nail my entrance. I think I had it pretty locked down for the most part. I had to sing in front of a small group of my peers. My heart was pounding out of my chest. This was an experience I had never had before. Performing on a court or a field was nothing like this. Singing in front of just 4 other people, this was as bad as it could get. So the instrumental started. I'm waiting for my entrance. I missed the entrance. My heart started sprinting. I had to tell the director that I missed the entrance. I had to ask him to restart it. Second time comes around. I made the entrance, but it was miserable. I dashed out of that choir room, to my car, to my house, to my bedroom, slammed the door as quickly as possible. But somehow I made it. I did it for 3 years in high school. My senior year, we even performed at Nationals in Nashville at the Grand Ole Opry. My senior year, I also convinced a bunch of my friends to try out for the JV soccer team. Well, there wasn't really tryouts, it was JV. So everyone got on the team. I think there was about 30 or 40 of us on the JV soccer team. Now, I hadn't played soccer since I was 8 years old in the villages in Panama. My foot coordination was horrible at best. So by now you could probably guess a couple of my favorite memories from high school. Was it being one of the top golfers in the city for 3 years? Was it being the starting quarterback on the freshman football team? 2 things that I was comfortable at that I had done my whole life? No. It was 3 years of show choir, 1 year marching band, and JV soccer in my senior year. Things that were different. Things that were awkward. Sitting in the band during football games with my hat with the feather on top, not being able to sit in the student section, singing and dancing in sparkly clothes, doing costume changes with the most absurd facial expressions, tripping and whiffing at soccer balls left and right, not even coming close to the goal. Those were my favorite memories. Now, 20 years after living in Panama, 10 years after my senior year of high school, I'm still learning these lessons. And if I'm being honest, comparison has hit me a little more lately. And that leads us to our last segment, present day comparison. After getting laid off from my job that I was probably at for too long anyways, I found myself on LinkedIn, on Indeed, scrolling. My 2 least favorite websites, my worst nightmare. Scrolling through social media, looking at other people's accomplishments, their houses, their engagements, their families, and sometimes thinking, why am I not there? But here's the truth that I have to remind myself. I'm exactly where I meant to be. Sure, I could have made different decisions in the past to lead me somewhere else, but I believe that I have made the best decision at each turning point, and I'm here for a reason. Some of those decisions that I made in my early mid-20s, I'll talk about in another episode. But for this episode, I wanted to take you back to the start, to the core. So thinking about where we started and where we're at now, How do we move forward? How do we fight off the depression and the anxiety that comes with comparison? I'll be honest with you. Some days I don't know. There are simple things, being active, eating healthy, getting outside, but we need to dig deeper than that. We need to stay close to our roots and close to God. Think about that 8-year-old me, buzzed head, sitting in that Panamanian classroom, not understanding a single word. As funny as it is looking back, I felt so lost and so disconnected, like I just did not belong. But the kids there that made an effort to help me, on the last day, they came running to that fence. And that's the hope that I want to remind you of today. God is sitting with you right now, offering his guidance, his help, and his comfort. Are you willing to ask for help? Even when it feels uncomfortable and awkward, when you're tripping and stumbling over soccer balls and something so foreign, if you're feeling stuck or behind and want to change in your life, nothing changes if nothing changes. Obviously, but for real, nothing changes if nothing changes. Stop consuming and start producing. Stop consuming and start outputting. I sit around wishing for something different, something more, but I stay in my routine consuming what other success people are having. So pray to God today and ask him for one small thing that you can change in your life today to get you towards that big dream, that big goal, the life of purpose that you so desire. Is it looking for a new job? Is it moving out of your current living situation? Is it drinking less alcohol? Is it getting more sleep? Take it to God and see what he says. And it just starts with something little, 1%, stacking days one at a time. With a few prayers and a little bit of action, your future and your purpose is unlimited. I can just sense that you are entering into your biggest growing stage. Let other people in. Let people support you. Let people speak into your life. Like with this podcast, I had a few people reach out to me and just remind me, hey, when's the next episode? When's the next episode? Keeping me accountable. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for journeying with me as I'm on a journey with God, myself, and with you as well. If you're wanting more of God and you're wanting more purpose, but you keep falling back into the lies of this world, something in your life has to break. One of the ways that God speaks to me is through worship. And a song that has been getting me through lately is Something Has to Break by Red Rocks Worship. And the lyrics go, Holy Spirit, move. When you have your way, something has to break. Tear down every lie. Set the wrong thing right. I believe you'll lead me through it. I believe you'll get me to it. I believe that you will do it right now. And I'm believing that for me today, and I'm believing in that for you today. That he will get us through it right now. Another song that has been on repeat is Colors by Bethel. You make all things new when you walk in the room. Bring your colors in my life, your vibrancy. Wipe away the dullest. God, for the person listening to this that is stuck, that is so sick of comparison, that's not happy with where they're at, I pray peace over them today. I pray that they would look back at their journey and see your hand over every step. God, I pray life over the person listening to this right now. I pray joy. I pray excitement. I pray new beginnings. I pray a fresh start. I pray that today you would feel like you are being lifted out of the mud so that you can run freely again. You won't get today ever again. You won't get this season of life ever again. This will be a time that you will look back on years from now. And do you want to look back on it and wish you had done the thing? You had tried that thing? You had taken the step? Or are you going to look back and see the risks that you took and see, wow, it was all worth it. I learned and I grew so much because I just took that first step. I just tried that one thing. I pursued that one dream, that one goal. Live a life today that you look back on and are so thankful for and that you are proud of. God has that for you today. If any of this resonated with you, reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. I think it's so important that we support each other in these journeys. I'm so excited for you. Things are going to start breaking in your life. There's going to be more color in your life. Remember, when you compare yourself to others and wish for a different life, you're essentially saying that you are not happy with the way that God made you. But he made you so specifically as you are. He put you in this world during this time for a purpose. You are here for a reason. You are loved and you matter. You are so worth the 1% each and every day. As every day, get outside today.